Welcome everyone to the podcast previously known as Katie and Kersey. As you could probably tell, Kersey is no longer able to continue with the podcast due to work commitments. However, I know how much you all love your weird and wonderful true stories, so I made some calls, got my thinking cap on, and would like to officially welcome you to the rebranded, redesigned, and reborn Kill Them with Comedy podcast. This is the podcast where two comedians attempt to make jokes about real subjects, including true crime, conspiracies, and you know what? I can't be bothered. Let's just play the jingle instead, Nathan. Hello, Internet. Now please hold on to your butt as two comedians attempt to talk about serious subjects in a not so serious manner. From the mysterious to the utterly vicious, everything is fair game. This is the Kill Them with Comedy podcast, featuring true crime, amazing events, conspiracies, unsolved mysteries, and an array of weird and wonderful topics, all for your enjoyment. You're welcome. Now, as everyone could definitely, and you too, could definitely tell from that this is indeed the Kill Them with Comedy podcast, and I am joined by the man who has agreed to be the regular co-host for the time being, or until he gets sick of me. You've seen him on here before when he presented the story of the pant-wettingly freaky, the insane giggling granny. Yeah. He is also the creator of the Post Apocalyptic Metal Treehouse sketch show, which you can catch on. That is right, sorry. Which you can catch on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast from. Not that, I was reading the next thing. Please, I'm all over the place today, man. I've had a few weeks off, but I'm all over the place. Please welcome the one and only head priest of the comedy Parish, my fellow funny friend from around the comedy circuit, Mr. Nathan Parish. How are you, dude?
Hell yeah, I'm doing pretty good, to be fair. I had an interesting week, all things considered.
Please tell us about your interesting week.
I had a shout out. One of my emails got read out on my favourite podcast, Your Mum's House podcast, with Tom Segura and Christina Pajitsky.
Oh, okay.
Oh, hell yeah, man. I watched their live show. That thing will haunt me for a long time.
But the question,
no. You just, yeah. The email I read out. The email I read out involved me basically saying that I nearly puked because of a video I referred to as the maggot foot video and another one referred to as the pussy cyst video. Both are pretty rancid.
I mean, I that makes sense from the names, to be honest.
Yeah, if you've ever seen a person's foot, a live person's foot, just filled with a bunch of maggots, that's
I think a vaginal filling with a cyst sounds worse, to be fair.
Oh, it's definitely worse, especially when the person is trying to pop it themselves.
Oh. To be honest, though, I thought you were going to say when they were trying to have sex or something, and it didn't seem as bad. So that would be really,
it was not that bad.
Yeah. Oh, fucking hell. So was it?
It's a classy start to my tenure on this show, isn't it?
So was it you reading out your email and then they showed that, or?
No, I watched the live show. I emailed them straight afterwards, and they just read the email out.
Okay.
I have never been quite so giddy in my entire life. So yeah, if you watch Your Mum's House podcast and you see on the last episode where they go, Nathan from the UK. That's fucking me.
There's only one Nathan in the UK. They could have at least said the last name.
To be fair, I didn't put the last name. I didn't think they were going to read it out. If I'd known, I would have tried to throw more jokes in there and shit like that. But I don't know. Maybe it was just the wholesome admittance of nearly vomiting that helped.
Probably, yeah. Would you like to go first or second this week? As you're the newbie, I think it's totally up to you.
I don't know, mate.
It's a hard question.
I don't know. It's a difficult question. I mean, we could flip a coin at this point. No, you go first. You go first.
Okay.
I've got my stuff sort of percolating. I've got loads of notes. It's like 2 pages of notes.
You said percolating, and all I thought of was that fucking cyst vagina. Right, so it makes sense to do this one first anyway then, because I've advertised it a little bit then. So this is the story of Tower 7, just a little brief description of everything in general first though. So it's the story of 9/11.
Interesting.
Yeah, so back in 2000, you're about the same age as me, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you remember this from being a kid? Because I remember it. It was like the first initial kind of thing, like when you realise the world's kind of shitty.
Yeah, I remember sort of being in my room, not even in my room, in my house, and someone just saying, "Someone watch the TV, turn the TV on, look at what's going on." And the big thing about that was terrifying for me and my family especially is that my uncle worked in the trade center at the time.
Oh wow, okay.
I don't think he was there that day, luckily, or he wasn't there at the time. But he was. If he wasn't in the trade center, he was very nearby or something like that. So it was just one of those things of, when you got someone close by, it's fucking terrifying, man.
Well, yeah, I can't imagine that. I mean, for me, obviously, and like most people in England, like, you know, you see it from very far up, and it's hard to kind of look at it as if it's right on your doorstep. But that was probably the nearest at that point, though, I reckon. Obviously, you had the 7/7 after and that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
I think it was 7/7. It sounds right.
That sounds right, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not 7-Eleven because that's that's a
shop.
food. That's a shop. Yeah.
The thing is, though, like you were saying, like he could have been like in one of the buildings around. Like there was a lot of buildings around there. Many people don't realize it, but many people don't realize as well. There was a third tower that fell during 9/11 in the World Trade Center. Tower 7, indeed. I couldn't figure out for ages what WTC7 meant. For ages, I couldn't figure it out, and then I realized the other day it's World Trade Center, and I thought really cool. Yeah, I know.
I don't think that's necessarily your fault. It's just sort of one of those things, you know.
So we're gonna quickly play now a video of once I find this. I'm gonna try. If it goes off, it's because I'm gonna try and share the window. And sometimes it goes off when I do this, but I'll come straight back on hopefully. But we'll see.
There we go. It worked.
There we go. Okay. So this is just the initial showing Tower 7.
Wow. That just fell apart on the inside, huh? And then just controlled demolition down.
Oh, good. Oh, hold on. Okay, that's all I'm going to play for now.
Yeah. It's it is very strange that it just goes. It is. And I know I've seen the explanation for it, but still, like, I don't know, man.
It's one of them because, I mean, like, first of all, like the 9/11 thing. Like, I'm not one of them people that. Oh, let me turn this thing off because it's not going off. Right there. There we go. You know, like when you hear like a lot of people, a lot of truthers for 9/11, people automatically assume it's someone like it was the government flying a plane into the building.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe that.
No, me personally, I don't either.
No, I feel more likely it would be, if anything, like taking advantage of a situation. Maybe they knew a bit about it beforehand, but they were just taking advantage of it, which I think is most things.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
I think we've discussed this before actually as well. Yeah, there's a tendency for conspiracy theorists to like try and go for the most ridiculous thing, when in fact normally if you sort of just ease it back, you're probably going to find what the truth actually is. You know what I mean? There's always a little bit of something going on.
And sometimes that's the thing why conspiracies are so interesting, because the psychology behind them, when you see people, like you said, going crazy, going to the craziest, 1 + 1 = 17. But then you get some of them where you read into them, it's like, this actually makes a bit of sense, or this doesn't make sense usually more than anything.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You got to read this stuff and look into it before you make a decision, because it's interesting more than anything else.
And at the same time, be open-minded to it as well.
Yeah. There's the phrase: be open-minded, but not so open-minded that your brain falls out. That is where you want to be, man.
I've never heard that phrase before, but I love it. That's great.
It's good, isn't
it? One thing that really surprised me though about the whole Tower 7 thing, when I didn't know about it, when I found out about it, is just the fact of where it was. So I'm going to put this up now. You might have seen this already. Got the old logo, but 1 and 2 obviously are there. But Tower 7, WTC 7, there's another building in between.
Yeah. Yeah, now, 6 is between it and 7.
Now the official story is that when 1 fell down, there was some video of it somewhere, but I can't find it because there was so little video of this stuff available. It's surprising.
Yeah,
although Tower 7 specifically.
Yeah, there was always a lot of it around when it first happened as well, which was interesting.
Yeah,
there seems to be only like 2 or 3 videos that get any views now. Back when it first happened, you got all these different angles from all these different things. Whether they've just been removed for some reason or something, or whether they just can't be found anymore. I don't know. Whether just people found it morbid and the Google algorithm just stopped showing it to people. I don't know.
Well, I mean, 9/11's still there because I don't know, for good reasons.
Yeah, well, I think that's definitely like a historical, cultural, like touchstone at this point, isn't it? Yeah, but it's weird to think that there are people around who weren't alive when that happened.
Yeah,
like full-grown adults who just
and people on the comedy circuit.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
It really is.
I can't do it. Like I'm 30 years old and I'm just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Shit, that happened quick.
Man, it doesn't. Yeah, like 19 years ago as well. And a lot. This is the thing as well. Those people that you mentioned won't realize how much has changed since then either. Like it never used to take 5 hours to get on a plane.
Yeah. Thank fuck the pandemic happened now, man. Could you imagine if people like comedians were trying to do this kind of shit on the connections we had back in 2001, mate? It would be horrendous.
Oh yeah.
It'd be like everyone would be like looking through those pixelated cameras. You'd barely be able to make anything out. OnlyFans would be fucked, mate. They wouldn't make a single fucking penny.
Porno still finds a way though.
Yeah, well, at the time it was all about pictures for me. You just find a picture and it was easy, Videos where you had to download. Remember having to download videos of porn?
Yeah. Killing your computer as well in the meantime.
Yeah, exactly. No. Streaming all the way. I don't want my porn on my computer. I want that shit floating out in the ether so I can sort of just dive in and see how it goes.
Well, it's a magical time now when everyone pretty much goes to the same place for their porn. It's a good time to be alive.
Pornhub for the win, bro.
What a win, my friend. See, they were the true heroes of this pandemic.
Fuck yes, without them I would have been screwed. Well, I wouldn't have been. That's the problem, isn't it? So
yeah, you wouldn't have seen any anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, my thing, So the official explanation then, was that in fact the first tower fell and some of it struck Tower 7, which you can see that happening a bit, but you can't. It's from a low angle, and you can kind of see 7. You can see how it looks like it would have fell on it, but you can't see 6. So I don't know. I couldn't really find out what happened to 6, but it didn't fall down apparently.
No,
because this, like we said, was the first and only steel structure tower to have ever fell down solely due to fire. As far as they say.
That's strange.
Now, I'm just going to go tinfoil hat here for a second.
Okay, let's go.
Let's assume There were 4 planes that were taken, wasn't there? That were hijacked.
I believe so. Yeah.
2 went into
the trade center. One went into the Pentagon, and one was taken and crashed into the lawn.
What if that other one that was crashed into the ocean ended? Yeah. What if that one was supposed to go into Tower 7 originally? Well, I say supposed to go into it, but
okay, I see what you're saying. So they already had it set up and rigged to go.
It could have been the initial target because they were going, for some of the stronger places. Obviously, they, went to the Pentagon. Big ass
the
towers,
Pentagon was the big one.
Yeah,
I think that there was what was the other target for it then? What was the target for United 93? Because I only remember watching the film and thinking, Jesus fucking Christ, this is depressing.
I haven't.
Have you watched United 93, dude?
No, is that about like the one that they managed to?
It's the one. It's the story about the one that they managed to take over and crash into the ground, as opposed to fucking. And fucking hell, is it depressing? It's just like, these people fucking died. They died. Did you understand? They fucking died. It's like, I fucking know. I get it.
Do you know from the beginning it's them, or is it like a reveal?
Oh yeah, you know from the beginning it's them. It's all the way from the start, and the film is called United 93. It's literally the name of the plane that crashed. I mean,
so many films now that have used that as like a little thing. I can't remember what the film is. It wasn't that long ago. It was Robert Pattinson. He's doing some film where it's just random and it's nice. He ends up getting some nice job in the end. And then he walks over to the office, to the window in this building, and looks out. And you hear someone on the news or something just say the date, or it's the 11th of September, and then you just see this plane coming towards the building, and it cuts off.
Oof.
Like, it was pretty cheap,
Yeah, it's a cheap ending. I mean, it's that thing that was it Orson Welles? I think it was who said, like, there's a difference between suspense and surprise.
Yeah,
like it was either Orson Welles or the guy who did The Birds. But basically, it's like suspense is the suspense is the one where you sort of see someone plant a bomb, and then you see someone in a restaurant having a meal. And they get up from the meal, and then they go to the car, and then they're having a conversation. Like the building of the tension, that's suspense. Yeah. While surprise is just the man gets into the car and it explodes. Yeah. And some people can't quite tell the difference.
So suspense is like, going on a date and then foreplay, getting ready, doing a bit of a tickle.
Tension.
Yeah, and the surprise is rape.
Finding a hooker.
Yeah. Chloroform. Now the weird thing is, anyway, with Tower 2 is what was inside it. Inside there, it was all governmental stuff. There was CIA office in there. The Department of what's it called? I can't remember the exact name, but it was a department that deal with terrorist incidents. Specifically, they deal with terrorist incidents for the whole of America. There was also the largest Secret Service field office in I think it was in the world. I'm pretty sure it was in the world because they have them all over the world, don't they? But definitely in America, anyway.
Yeah.
So that was a few different things. And conspiracy, like people that this is the thing as well. People that say it's a false flag, like that it was done by the government. It's hard to say because some of the stuff like that they say makes sense. Like this could have been a thing to cover up 9/11, but you do something to cover up something you haven't done at that time, or do you? It's just a bit weird.
Yeah, I think there's. I think I've mentioned before. There's like definite, obvious areas where the security was loose on the day, and it shouldn't have been loose.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. The actual day,
yeah.
But it seems like they were trying purposely keep it quiet because Tower 7 wasn't included in the 9/11 Commission report that they did.
Yeah.
There's been an official finding found, but it's never been agreed upon. The actual one, the reason for the collapse. Sorry, the only one is the fire theory. But there's a lot that goes against this.
So is it so 7 was supposedly a fire collapse then? Is that what
Tower
you're saying?
7. Yeah, Tower 7. The one you
No,
saw
I
at the
didn't
beginning.
know that. I
The one you
always
saw at
thought
the beginning.
I thought that 1 and 2 was clearly like could have been a fire collapse because there's a chance that the steel weakens and it can go down. Like there's a chance that can happen. Like people have shown on Blacksmith how that's potentially
And they've got
possible.
holes in the building as
But
well.
I didn't see fire on 7 to that extent at all. Like 1 and 2 was a goddamn inferno. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there is a lot of fire. Though I did manage to find, I think, the video. Let me check if it's this one. I think this has got a bit of it burning. Check. Maybe not. Maybe not.
Maybe not. Maybe.
Okay, hold on. So I couldn't eat it. It was on thingy.
It's okay. It's okay.
There we go. Okay.
All right.
This hasn't got the fire in it, but it's just another little bit I forgot to show you earlier anyway.
Oh shit!
It's got some of the fire in it, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that brings it back, man. Jesus.
I think you see a bit of the size as well in a second for a bit further up for Tower 7.
Yeah. Fuck hell. Jesus. And there it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I mean, if it wasn't a controlled demolition, it was fucking lucky how it fell. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that had leant over either side in any direction, it could have flattened multiple buildings.
Yep. Now,
I've been to New York, and like there is not enough space between those buildings to not cause damage that easily. It's bizarre.
And all 3 of them as well.
Yeah.
Got, one after another doing that because it felt pretty much like the other ones did.
Yeah.
Where's this other video? I think this might have a bit of it. Let me check. It might not actually, No, okay. Doesn't matter. We'll leave that for a second.
That's all right. That's all right. We'll get back to that. Bro.
Stop that. Okay. Yeah. So where did I get to? Yeah. So like you said, you try not to say it, but it just looks like a controlled explosion. It looks like it was meant to fall like that. It just does.
Yeah.
And then you look at like other buildings that burn for days. Like I thought of when I was looking at this, I thought Grenfell Tower.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point. I don't know. What that would be interesting to find out what the structural sort of makeup of the two were. Like when was Tower 7 built in comparison to Grenfell Tower?
Well, Tower 7 was built, I feel like it's the 50s.
Yeah, so it must have been like potentially less developed materials, but even then, like,
yeah, I mean, they do go into
that wouldn't make sense though, would it? Like if it's I don't know,
but it's still like even if it's less developed materials and now how do they still fall in the right way? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, this is the thing. It's
that's
like
his weakness, isn't it?
Yeah, because again, like there's something about that fall, the sort of very distinct straight down.
Yeah. There's you might appreciate this here. Like there's a lot. This I think this is the agreed upon conclusion. Yet there are so many architects and engineers that are on video. In the videos I could find, they were always included. The ones that I looked at specifically on here were Professor Stephen Jones and Richard Gage. And they just said there was no way a fire would cause a building to collapse like that. They redid it on like a smaller scale as well to show it. And there's some computer generated models as well.
Well, this is because just like thinking about it, if you've got, well, I say just thinking about it, I mean, what the fuck do I know? But still, again, like the Tower 1, Tower 2, big inferno. You can argue that the steel is melting. 7, I'm not sure how big the inferno was. Well, it wouldn't be melting, but weakening under the temperature that's been shown in the blast thing.
That's what it shouldn't do, though.
Yeah, but here's the thing. 7, it looks like the fire's in a more confined area. You know what I mean? So if it's in a more confined area and the steel is weakening in the same way that it would in the other towers, then surely that would mean that the weakness would be in one area. If the weakness is one area on a big block, what happens to it? You take out one corner of a block, it leans to that direction, doesn't it? Which it doesn't do. It doesn't do that.
I'm pretty sure on that. Let me have a look at it. Because I'm pretty sure in that first video you can see that the top, something from the top looks like
the top goes in first. Yeah,
it did, didn't it?
Yeah,
but there was like specifically like a fan, or I imagine it could be like a fan on top that you can kind of see just went through first.
Yeah, it's sort of the air conditioning system or something, or maybe even
let's have a look.
A water system. I'm not sure.
Let's have a look. Was it this? I'm sure it was on this somewhere.
Yeah, it's
just at the end.
At the end of it. Oh no, you don't get to see it on that one. I think it's on the other one.
It was the other one. Yeah. I got to know. Well, I tell you what, I was going to play this from about to about a minute in anyway, and I'll find it after.
Let's go for it.
I can't remember what it says now, but.
Right, why the building fell?
I think this is more on the official side. Oh, there you go, that bit, yeah.
Yeah. Directly inwards almost. Like you can't see, and then just whoop. So strange.
And you know what, as well, though? It hit, and then, like, you'd imagine it was coming down from the towers. If it was going to hit it would hit it on the top, surely?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it be?
Or the side, or like you could see damage on a side, but you don't see damage on a side.
There are pictures of the other side, because you got to think everyone watching it is going to evacuate it away from it.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
They would be on that side. There are some. I did find a video. It was hard to find it again, though. I could only find it on Daily Motion. And part of it was this newscaster guy, and he went into that bit, and you could see Tower. Well, they said it was Tower 7 anyway.
Yeah.
Or eventually found out afterwards that it was Tower 7. But and you can see it's on fire and stuff. So, but obviously you don't know how hot it is, and is from what some of the engineers and people were saying, it can't get hot enough to make it fall down, like to weaken it enough and all that. And I'd have thought it would be nearer the top anyway. So why would? Because from that video, it looked like the bottom would have had to go first for it to all pile down, doesn't it? I think.
I mean, it definitely doesn't look like it's sort of collapsing from the top and then like disintegrating underneath that increasing weight. It looks like just the foundation underneath it is just cut out and it just falls.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find a video in a minute of a controlled explosion and we'll compare.
Yeah, do it. Really do it, because it's really, really clear when you see a dam. And also see if you can find one going wrong, because there's one where you can see one go wrong and how precise it has to be, because it just fucking leans, mate.
Okay. I'll put this on now and then and I'll play it for I'll go find the thing after.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this is the official people saying it.
Yeah, I was just looking at
Tower 7.
Okay, so there's definitely fire going in along the bottom.
Oh, wait, yeah.
Right. Okay, so this is how the fire. Yeah, pause it there.
Yeah.
So this is how the fire is spreading. So again, like it's in one corner here, And it just seems like if you've got all that temperature, and again, like they showed you the outer shell and like how it would fall on the inside, but like, is that how it works? Is it just a separate outer shell that's basically holding itself up, and then everything else falls in between it?
It doesn't make sense that it would be like, if that was the case, that it would be one piece. It just makes no sense that it would be an outer shell in one piece, and then you got a building inside it effectively
that falls apart, and then the outer shell crumbles around.
Yeah, that makes no sense. Yeah.
Although maybe that's how they build them. I mean, what? To be devil's advocate, maybe that's the structural way that they build those sorts of buildings. Because as I say, when I was in New York, I saw them building something, and the way they build a new thing is they basically hollow out a central part of the skyscraper, drive a fucking crane in, open it up, and then just deconstruct it from the inside, and then rebuild it.
That's true, actually. Yeah, you've seen when they're building stuff around here.
Yeah, but is that the same when supposedly the interior structure is being so badly damaged by these flames that it's going to collapse, and yet the outer structure, which was probably weaker than the interior structure if it's not holding up the entire weight of the building and everything in it?
Oh, yeah.
Why does that survive? Maybe because it's not holding up the building and the rest. I don't know. This is
well, I would be like inclined to listen to them if they were the only people saying this, because like you said, we don't know about structural engineering, but
no,
the people that do know, the architects in them, are disagreeing with this, which is
there are people who know their shit who say it's not possible, and then there are people who say it is possible, and
one thing they're saying is that there's no evidence of like stuff from controlled explosions, and there's no one given witness statements saying it, which is not quite true.
That's not true. No, I've definitely heard of witness statements saying it.
Yeah. We'll go into a bit of what happened on that day, and someone in particular. I can't find. There we go. Barry Jennings. Okay. What happened to him as well? So it was the morning of 9/11. The entire fire alarm for Tower 7 was placed on test for routine maintenance in the morning. This is meaning all fire alarms in an 8-hour window should be ignored, and an hour later the first plane was hijacked. So weird timing straight away.
Yeah.
After the second plane hit and word was received of 2 more planes being hijacked, the order to evacuate Tower 7 was given. This included the office designed to respond to terrorist attacks, the Office of Emergency Management. One member of the emergency response team, Barry Jennings, became a key witness in it. So he was making his way up to office floor 23 on Tower 7 to evacuate people, emergency responder and all that.
Yeah.
When he got there, it was already evacuated. It was already empty, to his surprise. He looked around for a bit and then got a call from his supervisor asking him where he was, and he told him floor 23 in Tower 7. His supervisor then walked off and spoke to someone, and apparently came back completely, what's the word? It could come back a bit agitated,
Yeah, shaken up a bit.
Well, not so shaken up, just a bit
irritable.
Just a bit more alert, whatever you'd say, He just said to him, get out of there now. In a very panicked, there you go, so Jennings just ran out, tried to go. Shortly after, at 9:59, the first tower collapses. Some damage is caused to Tower 7, but mainly cosmetic at that point, apparently. A minute later, the fire alarm in Tower 7 is set off, but they are unable to locate the fire from the alarm due to being on test.
Interesting.
At this time, Jennings was still making his way down from the 23rd floor, because a lot of floors, so, and he didn't look like a particularly fit guy.
Poor fucker. The one day you should be doing cardio.
Yeah. by the time he'd reached the 6th floor, he said there was an eerie sound, the building went dark, and the staircase he was standing on completely gave way. I feel like I missed something there. I'll say it. Oh, no, it is. At 10:28, the second... I might not be right with the time. The second tower collapses, and Tower 7 took a direct hit from the debris of the collapsing building. This is apparently the start of the events that would cause the collapse of Tower 7. Crashed through the windows. Jennings, who was still in Tower 7 at the time, states he heard multiple explosions in the building and came face to face with fires, which must have been lower down as well because he was coming from up high. And if the time is right, when I wrote this, I feel like the time was right, but that's going on the assumption that the BBC BBC documentary's time was right as well.
Well, you'd assume they've done their research. I mean, if they haven't, then yeah.
And it was 8 hours ago, and 8 hours ago, it was 8 years ago that it was put on. I couldn't find anything for it on YouTube. I had to go to Daily Motion. I could only find a trailer on YouTube.
That's very strange.
And on their BBC iPlayer as well, it wasn't on there. Okay, yeah. Yeah, came face to face with fires in a building, which must have been lower down, is what I get from that. But the firefighters were unable to fight the fires as well, as the collapse of the other 2 towers had severed the water mains. After spending over 3 hours in the inferno of Tower 7, Jennings was able to escape through a window broken with a fire extinguisher. There is something else about him afterwards, which I did want to mention. Oh, yeah. Okay. Barry Jennings, emergency responser, was recorded in an interview later with a online talk show, stating that he was stepping over dead bodies. Recording where says this. However, in the official report, he stated that he did not see anyone dead during his time in Tower 7. He didn't hear any bombs or anything, and he said he never said this. But that's one thing that is on YouTube that you can find is him in this interview saying, "I walked over dead bodies, I heard explosions," But then there's also another interview saying, "I never said
later. That." Yeah.
Which is, it's all just mounts up and it's a bit weird. But there's some stuff in there that explains obviously why the fire could have got out of control if they weren't able to fight it,
Yeah, but again, it's this thing of, I hate to say it, but like the governments have never really been truthful about a lot of things, and
they've actually tried to do I think we talked about this before as well. They've tried to do an attack on their own people with that whole thing the JFK vetoed when they wanted to blow up the some kind of boat.
You mentioned that. Yeah, they were going to blow something up and then blame it on someone else, and
the reason to go
it's
to war.
Not like it's never been considered before.
Exactly, and the one thing that wouldn't change, or is less likely to change in government, is the people behind it, not the figurehead.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, how much power, hopefully, did Trump really have?
Well, more than we'd like him to have.
yeah. He was just balls to them. It was the only thing with him. He was an entertaining president, just because for the same reason George Bush was.
Yeah, the thing is as well, like there's all these people who are still fairly pro-Trump, and they pissed off about the way it's all gone. And it's like, yeah, but if you really wanted someone who was going to drain the swamp and make this world better and get rid of all these conspiracies and things, Trump wasn't the dude, man. Like these people put all of their money on this guy who's just a complete dick. It's like, find someone who isn't an asshole and also wants to reveal all these interesting secrets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it was also as well like which is one thing I did like about him was he was just cutting through the red tape like a lot of other presidents wouldn't do. He was just doing shit his own way, which is good. But like you said, if he wasn't a selfish,
it's good. It's good when you're getting positive things done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it could be good. Yeah. not good if you're Hitler in their boat.
Yeah.
But like we say with murders, though, one thing that's always weird, there's always a motive they look for straight away. If there's been a particular life insurance taken out on them before it, on the victim. In the months before the 9/11 attack, the owner of the two towers, Larry Silverstein, put out a large insurance policy on the two towers that specifically covered the buildings against the possibility of terror attacks, among other things. That wasn't there before.
That's interesting, isn't it? Especially as we hadn't had the inciting incident of terror of the attack of the World Trade Center to make everyone hyper vigilant about that point. That stuff at that point. That's very interesting.
And if you, like we were saying before, if it was just something they were just a bit aware of beforehand, then they could tell them,
Yeah.
He could be high up with it. If he owns the two towers, you imagine he could be quite up, twin towers.
Well, he's definitely got the money.
He was also recorded on a news interview when he was talking about it. Yes, that's why I've got two towers there. That's fucking twin towers. I'm thinking of fucking Lord of the Rings, aren't I? He gave the order to. He said that he gave the order to pull it. There's a lot of discussion about what that means, because he says since that he meant to pull it as in pull the firemen out, but a lot of people think he meant pull it as in to bring the building down. Because the fire chief said he would have never had the power to call the firemen off anyway. But that's just a weird one, that part anyway.
Yeah.
But after it though, so at 3 p.m. the order was put out to step back from the rescue efforts. It was realised the media had. This is one thing that I love. Like, this is one part of it that I couldn't find much video about, apart from just a little tiny bit that I couldn't be asked to download a video for it.
Yeah.
It was realised that media had reported the collapse of Tower 7 before it happened. It was evidenced by the tower being visible in the background of the shot, and they've also compared it to timings and stuff now. The tower was still up when they reported the Tower 7 had fell, and then later on you could see it fall down just in the background. Conspiracy theorists obviously believe that they were given a script and previous knowledge of the tower.
Oh, it's going to collapse at this point, so you best be saying it, because it's going to collapse at that point.
I mean, there's no way around it. They did do it. I mean, they did report
it's visible.
It
it's been seen. Yeah.
Now, there could have been a bit of confusion, because at the same time, they've said since that at the time they were aware that they weren't going to be able to stop the fire, and they thought, you know what, it might collapse. But I don't know why you would just think.
Is there a timing issue between the two? Like, potentially? No, because you said they've already checked. They've checked the times now. It's not like there could have been a delay on the live link or anything like that, is there?
No. Like, that would have been the obvious explanation, though. But no, it was legitimate. Like, it was. But this.
Hell.
The only explanation I could see for
it. Like, amateurs. But fucking wait for it to go down before you say it, for fuck's sake. What are you trying to do?
The news people seemed aware that it was going to go down before it did. Barry Jennings' supervisor seemed to be aware that something was going to happen before it did. There's recordings of people on the floor, like firemen and that, just saying it's going to come down, telling people to move back. And obviously it's debated whether that means it's coming down because we're bringing it down, or it's coming down naturally. But you saw the speed of it on that video, though. How would they know? You could hear.
It wasn't a sort of, from the simulation they showed you, it was like bam, straight down immediately. There was no sort of warning. This bit's crumbling. Get out. It was just, it's gone.
And if it had never happened before, why would you just assume that's going to happen?
Yeah.
Even with the two towers just falling down, like the twin towers falling down. Now, to be fair, had been hit by planes, so it's a bit different.
Yeah, big ass fucking planes.
Yeah, huge ass planes. Slightly different.
Yeah.
Now, some demolition experts do say though that there was a lot of work that goes into setting a building up for controlled explosions, and there's no way they could have done that without people realizing, and they would have had to go quite deep into the main bits, because they were talking about how for that explosion to happen like it did, all there's like central beams or something to hold it in place, and they need to all go at the same time for it to go.
Yeah.
Which, from a fire, just first of all, them all going at the same time from a fire is just strange.
Yeah, different temperatures because it started at a different point, so that temperature radiates out at a different level.
Yeah, and it's not supposed to be hot enough to bend the steel in that anyway. But let's go on the assumption it could have done. It was crap steel.
Well, it's not even that. It's not even that. It's like technically, if you've got a lot of weight on steel, and the temperature around it doesn't have to get to the melting point. It can get to fairly below the melting point and reduce the strength of the metal. So by a point of raising it by 200 or 300 degrees, instead of being able to lift like 300,000 tons, you can only lift 200,000 tons, and then suddenly crumble.
But you would expect
again, man.
Yeah,
like you can't just have it just do that. That's not how that happens in a melting situation. It's not like, again, it's not like the entire thing is the same temperature all the way around. It's not like there's the same office exactly in every place. It's like some places there's printers with ink. Some places there's like caustic chemicals that could be more hot. There's no consistency within there apart from the materials the building's made out of.
And one thing you notice from a lot of the videos as well, like I said, it's a shame I can't see them now, can't find them, but it's, the wind is like a big factor in it. Like all the smoke seems to be coming out of one side particularly.
Yeah.
So surely it would go more that way or the other way, one of the two.
Yeah, and not only that, but again, like let's look at those videos that we saw as well. We've got the one where it's the big structural bit, the top bit caves in, and then the rest of it falls. But we've also got video footage of what seemed to be fairly near the ground, where it's on fire near the bottom and then suddenly falls. So is that flame at the top of the building causing the crumble? Is it in the middle of the building causing the crumble? Did the fire somehow spread all the way through the building, through every single fire safety thing they had, to then suddenly melt the whole thing? Again, consistent temperature throughout the entire thing. It doesn't hold weight for me, man. It doesn't hold weight for me.
Inside the building.
Yeah.
The one I was just thinking as well, maybe it was like, the fire at the bottom or whatever, and then it burnt away the things right at the bottom and everything just came down on top of that. But then even if the middle did that, it doesn't make sense that it would fall straight down then, because
it's again also not the same. Yeah, also again not the same as the model they showed you, where they had the model of the computer simulation of how it would fall. And it's falling from the top inside and collapsing in itself, and then the outer shell falls around it.
Let's have a look at that again.
Yeah, let's have a look.
Where was that again? It's a bit further on in it.
Here it is. Yeah, it's this bit here.
I think there's another bit after it as well.
Okay, so what they're saying is that it's collapsing there, but we already know that the fire, from the looks of it, was near the bottom.
And that's the side.
Okay, so what they're saying is that like the falling bit is out of the center, but then again, like, look, I don't know, man. I just don't know. Okay, so the support columns are going.
I mean, look, they're talking about it, and then they say these two here falling are for this reason and this reason, but then they just float over the fact that this bit starts falling. They don't explain that. You see the bit in the top right?
Yeah, top right. That's what I'm saying. Like this bit just falls immediately, and as the bottom bits are falling. So maybe the structure's fallen out in the center there, but again, like, wouldn't that tilt the motherfucker? Like, wouldn't it? Like, if it's breaking from one side, it goes like that, man. It doesn't just fall. Look, it's even saying columns, support
side?
columns, across it goes. And no, just fall fucking straight down. It's strange, man. It's strange.
Okay. Yeah. He was saying as well there's nothing in there that would show up, is what he was about to say in a second. No, there was no charges or anything that showed up that they could find. But they did find this, among other things, they found this piece of metal that was seen to be from one of the steel beams that would have held it together and that. It was a piece that had like been kind of looked like it had been cut off and like looked all jagged and stuff, but they eventually realised that it was more it dissolved away at the side. It looked like it had been dissolved away and it'd been warped and stuff. And they were talking about how the heat of thermite stuff could do it.
Yeah, thermite is a serious fucking contender.
Yeah.
And it's savage shit as well. You know how to make thermite?
No.
Right. Oh, it's really fucking simple. All you need is, I think it's aluminium and iron oxide, so rust basically, and you just build it up into a nice big pile, and then you light that bitch with magnesium.
Oh, okay.
So you need a really high temperature to get it going, but once it's going, the reaction will melt steel like that. Nothing. It's just nothing.
And you could put it in like a line of stuff, can't you? To like do it.
You can put it in a line. You can put it in a little shaped charge, so it will heat up into a direct area. You can do loads of lovely shit with thermite.
And considering it's a government building, it wouldn't have been that hard to do that if they wanted to just get rid of a lot of evidence for some reason. Say maybe the digital age was coming in and they didn't need everything on paper anymore. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's either that or, I mean...
And they wanted an excuse to go to war with Iraq, even though it turned out that they were nothing to do with it.
Yeah, and I mean, even it could even be things like there's evidence in there of a previous government operation, like there's a hidden like security area or something, and you could go fucking like mental with this shit. This is the problem with the conspiracies is like there's so much area to go with.
Yeah,
you've got to sort of try and restrain yourself a little bit.
Yeah, it's hard to not sound like crazy as well when you're saying it.
Yeah, but the thing is, to a certain degree, you've got to look at this stuff objectively and say that doesn't make that much sense. And I still haven't had an explanation that makes me feel like, yeah, okay, I get that now. I get that 100%. I've got reason to believe that Tower 1 and Tower 2 were known about and let happen.
I swear there was something that's like a fact now, isn't it? I swear there was something that had been confirmed that had come out.
Yeah. Like, but 7 is just so bizarre. Whether it was like they had an opportunity to take it down and they thought quickly get in there and do this shit so that we don't have to deal with it anymore.
Exactly, yeah.
Could just be a real estate scam. And do you understand how expensive New York real estate is? It's worth a few thousand lives, my friend.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, even like, well, I suppose the real estate, that would be more for like Tower 1 and 2, because 7's a lot smaller than us. And I assume worth a lot less.
But even then, man, like, in some of the smallest areas in New York, they've got these really thin towers that look almost like they're no bigger in like plot than say like an average size, like what I say average, a fairly big house. Yeah, but they just go up so fucking tall. And that's the thing, man. Once you're in New York, you can just keep building up and up and up and up and up. So that ground area is exponential in the amount of money that you can pay for it, provided there isn't already a building there. See what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
And they could probably make a lot more money from the monument that was put there in in replacement.
I didn't actually get to see the monument. I really wish I could have done, but it was one of those things that's like massive. Everyone does it, and it's so, it's a day's worth of thing, and then you're going to feel depressed as shit. So maybe I'll go the next time I go to New York.
Fuck, am I thinking about going to America for a while?
Yeah.
I used to want to live in America before all this.
Oh, I still do. It's still the land of opportunity, man. It's still the place where I think there's like the most freedom for comedians as well. It's tough here, man. It's tough. It can be tough.
I think there's not as much freedom in regards to the people. I think the people get pissy easier over there.
Maybe, but I don't think that's true necessarily, because like the way I see it is like the reason why England, I think, is a bit more difficult for certain people is there's a really good solid scene in this country of comedians that I really like, but they're all fairly they have to be fairly mainstream. There's not enough people in the UK for everyone to have their own like weird cult-like group behind them. Whilst in America, there's enough people out there for each and every comedian to have this whole swathe of people go like, I like that comedian, and that comedian's like that comedian, so I like that comedian. And then you've got this thousands of people who can support these comedians, whilst in the UK it feels a bit more like, well, there's a fairly limited audience. And there's not that many people who can spend that much time looking at that many comedians. You know what I mean?
And I suppose, I was going to say you got the internet as well as this now, but a lot of comedy, like the actual comedian side of it, is one of those few things that's still all about, person-to-person performance kind of thing. Yeah. Which is nice in a way, because I still don't want to be putting videos of like sets up and stuff.
Yeah.
I still don't want to be doing that.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I mean, it might be a while till we're back doing it, or now if like the pubs aren't at the moment anyway. If the pubs aren't looking to open until mid-February, then that must be about the time when the vaccine will be in and stuff. Then surely you'd have thought.
The vaccine is the thing for me at this point. It may well be a government conspiracy to try and get us all microchipped. At this point, I don't fucking care. Like you can see where the fuck I am. You can know what hormones are going on in my brain for all I care. For fuck's sake, mind control me a little bit. Just a little bit. Just make me want to go to B&Q a little bit more for some fucking reason. But let me do my comedy.
You know what? This is a good point, actually. Everyone, like, people were, like, very about 9/11 and saying it might not be, there might be a conspiracy in that. Yeah, everyone's happy to say that the vaccine is going to control you.
Yeah.
This and this.
Yeah, it's definitely going to control it. And the amount of people who go like, oh yeah, no, I don't trust it. I don't know what's going in it, so I don't trust it. And then they just go, yeah, huge line of coke. Like, mate, what are you fucking doing?
Even going to McDonald's is just as bad.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. It's just it seems to be all over like Facebook and stuff, which is where a lot of the things seems to come from.
And it does annoy me to a certain extent. You get a lot of these people who go
very annoying.
Well, you get the ones as well who go like, oh no, but it's all about herd immunity, so I don't need to take it. It's like, no, you don't understand.
Yeah.
There is a very small amount of people who literally cannot take the vaccine. If they do, they'll die. So the rest of us take the vaccine, so there's no way that virus gets to them. This ain't about you, motherfucker.
Funny enough, I had an argument with a particular lady comic that we both know about exactly that.
Oh right. Fair play. I don't know who yet, but I'm sure it'll be all right. Again, like the thing is, if you don't want to put something into your body, that's fine. If you don't want to put something into your body, I can't argue with you. But
you say that. Go on, take that first.
For me, for me, it's just like, if it's safe, if you've seen that loads of other people have done it, if thousands of other people have done it and it's been fine, is that enough to change that person's opinion? If it is, if them seeing all these other people have the vaccine and they're fine and, oh, okay, I'll do it now then because I know it's safe, that's wonderful. But if it then turns into, oh, well, I don't think I want to do it anyway,
confirmation bias.
That to me, that's showing you true colours there. If you once you know it's safe, you're still not going to do it, that's an issue for me.
I mean, it's kind of realistically past that point because 43,500 people have already. Last time I checked, 43,500 people have done it.
Yeah. I'm gonna do it as soon as I get the opportunity. I am not messing about because I don't want to do this for the rest of my fucking life, and I don't want to force other people to either.
Well, we need other people to as well, so they can come and watch us too, which is the worst part.
Well, exactly.
And it's the thing what you were saying then about how, like they should have control about what they put in their body or what they do to their body. Yeah. But if someone was, for their choices, and I don't know why, if someone was on fire and they just didn't want to put themselves out and they decided to run into a building filled with people, is it their choice to do that?
All of them wearing tracksuits, they can go up like a fucking flame.
Like in that situation, is it kind of the same? Like if they were breathing out poisonous gas, then no, you should be forced to take it.
Yeah, I saw an I fucking love science video. Or post, and it was basically like what was it? Go to university for 5 years, get a PhD, join a lab, study in that lab for 5 years, create a vaccine, go through multiple studies, get the studies approved, finalize it, go on the internet. Bullshit. What are you fucking? This is peer reviewed. It's science. It's peer reviewed. They don't just go, oh look, I've made a vaccine, and everyone goes, fucking inject that shit. They're going, oh, by the way, if we're going to inject it in this person over here, and this person, and this person, and this person, and this person, this, all over the fucking world, to then go, yes, it works. So guess what? It fucking works.
Oh, that was an epic rant. There's so much to it, man. It's just freaking ridiculous.
There's an anti-intellectualism, especially about science, where people are like, I don't know science, so therefore I don't have to. And it's like, nah, man, science fucking knows. Science fucking knows.
You can't have an opinion on facts. This is something else the person said to me in that conversation. They said, we can have an opinion on facts, it's fine. It's like, no. You can't. That's not how it works. You can't have an opinion on
opinions. Yeah.
Yeah. You can have an opinion.
It's the Trump thing, isn't it? Alternative facts. No. Yeah. Bullshit.
I mean, don't get me wrong as well. Like the whole, put it in the worst possible way, but fake news is definitely a thing.
No, it's definitely a thing. Absolutely, it's a thing. But the thing is, it goes on both sides. And like, again, there was a really fascinating thing I watched on one of the Joe Rogan experiences recently, and he was talking to I can't remember the goddamn guy's name every single time, but he's a UFC fighter and an ex-Marine and like all these things, hardcore dude. And he was talking about, right, Russia's messing in the election was never about getting Trump elected specifically. It was about damaging the trust in the democratic process.
Yeah.
Now, look at the world through that vision and look at every single Western country at the moment.
Yeah.
It's QAnon and it's this conspiracy and anti-vax and flat earth and all of them are government-based conspiracies where the government is either so inept that they can't do things or at the same time unbelievably powerful that they cannot be stopped.
It's one of those main contradictions that always bother me, that is.
Yeah, it's so stupid, and the consistency is the thing that lacks. And again, let's go back to what we were talking about. The Tower 7 thing has a degree of consistency to it. JFK has a degree of consistency to it. There are certain conspiracies out there that if you look at them objectively, you can go, okay, I can understand why this is an interesting subject. But anti-vax, I'm sorry, that shit was proven bullshit.
Yeah, there's no
ages ago. The only person who was ever truly trying to prove anti-vax was a good idea was a British scientist who was so unbelievably crap at his job that every single other scientist in his field laughed him out of the fucking room. He is an imbecile.
I know he got through out straight away, didn't he? His paper on it.
And paper after paper, they were like, that's bullshit, your maths is wrong there, that's not how that works, you've got that wrong. And he was like, no, I'm definitely right. No, you're not, you're a prick.
I mean, that was kind of everything about Tower 7 anyway. The only other stuff to say is there was when they were going over it with a plane, with a helicopter, they took like temperatures of the area and you could see it was ridiculously hot. Like hotter than it should be just for a for just a fire, you know. But it's one of them as well, and they could easily have. It's a government building. They could easily have put explosives in it. Could have been explosives in there since it was built. There could have been a whole secret thing to put thermite on.
I put my money on thermite, because the thing about thermite as well is
they would have had stuff as well that wasn't available. Most definitely could have had thermite.
Well, let's put it this way: if you've got a trigger somewhere, a radio-controlled trigger on a piece of magnesium, the magnesium is going to disappear. You're not going to have any signs of the magnesium being existent, apart from like trace elements. So that's pathetic. You're not going to detect that.
Yeah.
But you can store that inside a bunch of aluminium and iron oxide and have a little radio controller. Say you're just doing a little bit of maintenance on a building and you're just drilling a little hole into somewhere, and then you pack that full of thermite, you put the charge in and you close up the wall. You don't have to be seen doing that. That can be done over months. One here, one there, one there, one there. Or it could be done in a matter of fucking minutes, where you drill the hole, pump that shit in, light it, and run. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you know, if that is true, for example, like the Twin Tower, I mean, the insurance policy, for example, was done like a few months before, from what
that's fucking dodgy, isn't it? Like to suddenly add
and
terrorism.
That means and that means they had a few more months that they could have put that into place with the things that you were saying.
Again, like, here's the thing, right? Always follow the money. If you want to know what's really going on in the world, read the Financial Times. Yeah. Because those people, you're going to start seeing where the money's being invested, where this is going, and then the following month you'll see something happen and go, why the fuck did that? Oh, they just earned a shit ton of money off of that transaction. Interesting.
It just affects most things, to be fair, like that.
It's true. Like there is a conspiracy of some kind going on. It's not the kind of conspiracy everyone thinks it is. Everyone, take your conspiracy level, drop it down to half, and you're probably correct.
Yeah, it's fucking true. Let's end the Tower 7 bit then on just some examples of actual controlled explosions, so we can have a look. I don't know what this video is like, but we'll find out.
Sometimes
actually, it'd be better if it did that, wouldn't it?
To be demolished to make way for new
so that perfect example of a controlled demolition right there.
Let's have a look.
So watch that straight again. Look how similar it is.
Yeah.
And so today,
unbelievable. In fact, that was less clean than Tower 7.
Well, yeah, I mean, to be fair though, you couldn't even see it from because you could only see the top.
See, look at that. Oh, yeah, even less controlled than Tower 7.
Yeah. That's
leaned over.
Isn't it? Yeah, less as well. I mean, there's the flashes you don't see, but that could have easily been covered up.
See, that lean at the bottom, that's not supposed to happen. They're supposed to just go whoop, 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 whoop.
Or just straight down.
Yeah. Look at that. So it's fine, and then you hit that pivot point and it leans. Now, maybe they knew they had that opportunity, so they were leading it in that way for the explosion. I can't be sure, but still.
Yeah. Tower 7 could have fell a bit like that as well anyway.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, that was the same ones? Oh, okay. Oh, that's weird.
That's amazing. Oh, wow. I'm just enjoying that one. That was just brilliant.
I want to find like more of a tower type one.
That's one there. Yeah, that's a tower.
Oh, here we
go.
Yeah.
2, 1, fire.
Okay, so this is an American as well. So this is how the Americans do a demolition.
Oh God, look that
at
looks exactly like it.
Perfect drop. Straight down. No issues, no lean. Perfect.
Right at the bottom, but once again, no.
Yeah, but that one again,
you wouldn't
leaning. That one was leaning onto the other one into a controlled area.
Yeah, this was more the angle you would see, like, and we saw it from lower down behind buildings as well, so you wouldn't see it at the bottom. That's the thing with Tower 7. You forget how big those buildings around it was as well when it was falling down. They look tiny in comparison, but
look at that.
Fucking crazy.
Here's a few more demolitions that didn't quite make the list.
No, okay, yeah. So
even that though, you know, that was pretty straight down still.
Yeah.
It's just
it seems remarkably clear cut when you look at it, doesn't it?
It really does. It's hard to go against
bam,
this.
bam, bam, straight down.
That one fucked up a bit. But...
Oh, that one fucked up a bit. Yeah, a little bit, little bit.
Still though.
But again, doesn't that suggest to you that 7 seemed, if anything, remarkably good in the way it fell? Like some of these professional jobs are a little bit wonk. That one just went ooh straight down.
I mean, let's have a look at it.
I'm doing a lot of sound effects for buildings for them.
And let's compare it again with what we could see again. With Tower 7 now, then where was it? Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so Tower drops in the center.
He ain't got as much of a good view, but boom, boom, boom.
Just watch this. Like someone cut the feet out from underneath it.
Just
straight down. Just straight down.
And then we got
a lot bigger building as well. Let's be clear about that. That is a huge fucking building.
Yeah, yeah. Here we go. That's the other one, isn't it? Yeah. Okay.
Right. Okay. Let's have a.
So look at the straight down.
Even then, it's just it doesn't even rotate. It doesn't even lean. It just fucking.
Yeah, look at the building around it, and you realise how big. There's just nothing you can say when you actually look at it. Like you said, you try to come up with like other things for it, but there's nothing else. It just doesn't look like an explosion. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't look like something is crumbling or collapsing. It looks like something's being destroyed.
Yeah. And then there's people that said they heard explosions. The guy said he heard explosions, but then changed his story later on.
Yeah. And that shit's easy enough to do. You just give someone a paycheck and say, "Oh, you just never say that again." And if you do, you're dead.
Mm-hmm. And there was freaking just everything to it, man. Yeah, I mean, I could keep saying this over and over, but that's it, really. That's all there is.
Yeah. You know, ladies and gentlemen, you know how we feel about this because. It's fucking obvious.
It really is. You don't want to... Yeah, it's so fucking obvious.
Yeah.
There's something, at the very least, there was something weird and being covered up about Tower 7.
Yeah. But at least we're being honest about the fact that we just feel this way. We're not going to come up to you and say, well, maybe. No.
Or say that we know. We don't know.
We don't know. But we're pretty suspicious, people say.
Yeah, common sense would tell anyone. That's what they said in a lot of the things. They're like, just use common sense. Look at it. It doesn't look like it should. It shouldn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can use as many magic bullets or extra special fire theories and shit, but people can just look at something and go, "Ah, that looks right, man."
Anyway, enough of that then. I'm going to do a true crimey one next week, I think.
That's a good idea.
Cleanse my palate from that.
Yeah, I've got something that's in a very different vein though this week. So
okay, I was interested from what you said. I like the idea that I thought you'd probably come back with something different. But before we do that, I'm going to show a quick little advert for the comedian quiz off that will be coming this Wednesday. You can check it out. It's live. Just watch it. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Katie's comedian quiz off. 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 KD comedian quiz off.
So that is episode 19 of Katie's comedian quiz off. We're almost at episode 20, which will be a Christmas special.
That's it's pretty incredible that it's been going that long at this stage. It's turning into a real fucking lovely show to do as well. It's like each time you refine it that little bit more, it just gets better and better and better, man. I love it.
Apparently, it got mentioned on some BBC radio things.
For real?
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. I know.
Sweet.
So we'll see if it pays off with the views this week at all.
That's what it's all about. It's about views, my bro.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And more than anything as well, just keeping the name within the comedy world, while all this is going on.
Yeah. I mean, that's what Post Apocalyptic Metal Treehouse is about as well. It's just keep writing, keep doing shit. You got to be fucking creative.
And we can use this as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, the floor is yours then now, my man.
Okay. Right. I was going to do slides and shit. I don't have slides and shit. But what I do have
if you decide you want
fuck ton of notes.
Okay, if you decide you do want anything phone up, just send it me after some point.
I can do that.
I'm going to get this edit tonight.
What is going on with that?
That's burps.
So, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to learn a little bit of science.
Oh, okay.
Now, I'm going to tell you about the single most terrifying thing that can happen on planet Earth. You have no doubt heard of meteorites, for example. Killed the dinosaurs, right? Big ass extinction. Dangerous shit. Got a problem with asteroids? Yeah? Yeah? Asteroids ain't shit, son. Because we are talking about today a flood basalt. Now,
a what?
You know what a flood basalt? Okay. Now, do you know what Yellowstone National Park is?
Yeah, I know Yellowstone. Yeah,
a super volcano.
Super duper.
Right. Now, you know how big Yellowstone is roughly. Like you've seen documentaries on it. I'm sure. Like,
it's a big
nuclear winter type shit rips out the entire of the eastern seaboard of America. Nothing gets to live anymore.
Oh, if it goes up, you mean?
Yeah. A flood basalt is worse.
Okay.
By roughly 100 to 10,000 times.
That can't be the size of it.
Yes, it is. Right, so
I feel like that's the whole size of the planet.
Yes. So when the Earth begins, or began, it was this wonderful big rock in space. Now, in fact, actually going back to the theory, do you know how the molten core of the Earth supposedly got started?
Which part do I know? Is that anything to do with the two planets bashing into each other?
You got it. Yes.
Yeah.
So one planet was smaller and significantly denser, and the other was a rocky planet, almost kind of like what we think the moon is made out of now. And the two combined, smashed together, and that produced a huge amount of energy, which created a core.
And the moon was a byproduct from that as well, wasn't it?
Exactly, yeah. It was all the remaining detritus and bits that just sort of span around and then became one big lump.
That was like the bullet on the exit wound. He got that far and then just went...
Yeah, and just got sucked back in. Yeah, it's so badass, man. I love that kind of shit.
Yeah, it is really cool.
A flood basalt is basically caused when the center of the Earth's core, the very center of it, the hottest bit of it, does a bit of a lava lamp.
Oh, okay.
So you've got the central core here, you've got the outside core there, and a little tendril of the very hottest core stuff will just bounce out. And most of the time, similar to the way like a sunspot starts or a sun flare starts, it will fire out and curve back in again. But this time...
A tendril, like a bit of a bubble thing, like one of those things you mentioned.
Yeah, exactly. So if you look at like a lava lamp and you see how a bubble rises up to the top,
yeah,
it's like that, except everything dies. So basically, the way it works, it produces this little tendril. It goes up underneath the crust. So you've got the crust there. You've got this basalt rock formation underneath it, this huge molten core. Now it's a significantly hotter temperature than everything else around it, and trillions of tons of material. Okay, and it doesn't have to happen on a fault line. In fact, very regularly they don't, because what happens is this will build up underneath the crust of the core, and then just little tendrils will start working their way through all of the igneous rock and the little bits around, creating little pockets of lava everywhere until eventually it erupts. Now, the most dangerous one that ever happened was in Siberia 252 million years ago. It was the Permian extinction event, right? So when it started, and this is the first thing you realize about a flood basalt, is large amounts of deadly gases just sort of firing out of the earth. So you're talking like the world is doing the most heinous fart, right? Nothing is good, right? And then 30 mile... Yeah, well, Pompeii ain't got shit on this, because you get 30-mile-high geysers of lava.
Fuck. Jeez.
Jesus Christ, right?
Jeez. I imagine there must be parts of that would like turn to rock while it's spurting out.
Absolutely, you know chunks of like of rock just falling out of the sky, melting shit as it went along. Now, it produced roughly this is the thing, right? Supposedly, some geologists will say it happened within about a week, or some will say it happened within a few years. But when the Siberian flood basalt started, it filled a region the size of France with magma 50 meters high.
Jeez. Fucking hell. Okay.
Yeah.
And that can just essentially happen anywhere.
This can happen anywhere and also at any time. It's also not the biggest one that has ever occurred. The biggest one that has ever occurred was... I can't find the bloody thing. Yes, the Central Atlantic Magmatic Province. Now, this was an oceanic province, and it was, I think, a few million years after the Siberian one or before it. But that produced 7 million square kilometers of magma. Not only that, it produced like it produced enough to cover the entire Earth's surface in 10 meters of magma rock.
That puts it in a lot better context. Yeah. So
every single piece of the planet would have been filled. Well, not at the time. It would have all come out in one area.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we have a giant chunk of rock melting the entire of the planet, right? It's a bad situation. Can it get worse, Carl? You're goddamn right it can.
Yeah, I feel like it can.
Yeah. Because a flood basalt doesn't last, say, a few years. It doesn't just fill the area of France. This bastard keeps burning for 350,000 years.
Okay, hell. Jesus. Okay. So you pretty just, if that happens with Fox.
Yes, and here's the thing. Here's the amazing thing, right? These things are so massive and so long-lasting, you can see them being traced across the face of the Earth. Not because the basalt is moving, but because the continent above it is. So as a continent moves, for example, Hawaii's structure, they believe, is actually the result of a flood basalt. So there would have been a huge amount of this magma coming through underneath it. Yeah. That would have forced up a bunch of volcanoes. And then as the continental plate moved along, another volcano ridge appears. And the continental moves along, ridge. And that is exactly what you see along the lines of Hawaii.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And not only that, you can see it happen in other places as well. There's areas in other areas of America where you can see mountain ridges that come out of nowhere. There's no solid tectonic plates building to force it up. It's just happening by itself.
Okay, and that's that then.
Too much whiskey.
Can never have too much.
Yeah.
But from someone who doesn't like whiskey, you can, but
yeah. But so so
that comes from that then. They're just sudden peaks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're talking about something that lasts so long that essentially, if one happened today, it wouldn't fuck us up at all. Unless it happened directly underneath us, we'd be fucked in that situation. But say, for example, a flood basalt started somewhere near Malaysia. Malaysia would be fucked. A lot of China, all that area would be fucked. Yeah. We would have about 50, 60, 70 years or so to get off the planet before we got really badly fucked up. Because it can't get worse, can it, Carl? It can't get worse, can it, Carl?
Once again, I feel like it can.
yeah, it can. Because in total, over the 350 years it took for it to gradually die out, it produced 4 million square miles of basaltic rock. 1 mile thick.
Wow, okay. I was going to ask you what is the outcome, that would cause you to have like 60, 70 years, to have to get off. What is it that would get you then?
Yeah, so essentially the rock itself, not that much of an issue. I mean, don't get me wrong, there is going to be horrendous issues that come from this. You're talking global freezing events because of what is essentially a nuclear winter going on, or a volcanic winter. You would have huge amounts of areas of the Earth just dying off. But the problem doesn't sort of end with the lava, because lava it's a temporary thing. It comes up, it cools, it sorts itself out. The problem is that now you've got 1 trillion tons of stone that cannot get anything through. It's pure solid rock sat on top of a now pressurized chunk of boiling hot magma. underneath the crust, which means it now starts to seep out underneath the crust into other areas, getting further and further and further underneath this giant thing. Now, during this event, the Permian extinction hasn't happened yet. The Permian life is still going on absolutely fine. They don't give a shit. There's loads of creepy, crawly little creatures going around having a lovely time, chomping on the knackers of some other animal, right? But underneath their feet, this igneous rock is heating the ground, almost like a sort of underground heating mechanism for a house. But it's getting hotter and hotter, and it's boiling organic compounds underneath the ground and huge stores of carbon dioxide. Now, it can't release from underneath this 1 trillion ton chunk of rock. So it keeps spreading and keeps spreading and keeps spreading until it all explodes at the same time. In one single year, enough CO2 was released. Well, say 1 single year, a very short period of time. Enough CO2 was released into the atmosphere to raise the global temperature by 5 degrees.
Wow,
That may not sound like much, but if you consider the fact, when you consider the fact that 5 degrees less from where we are now was an ice age. Yeah. But here's the thing, Carl. It can't get worse, can it? It can't get worse.
Well, I feel like it can.
It can, Carl.
You know, before you say that though, the thing with that I find interesting about that as well is you have a lot of people arguing against climate change because they say it's not that much that we don't do that much of it. Like it's more natural because of the carbon dioxide and things like that. It's like, oh yeah, that's a natural thing.
Yeah, it's natural. It's like oil is a naturally derived thing. It happens over time. And you can pull it out of the ground. It's still gonna fucking kill us all.
And
that's the thing. Like again, like you're right. There's people out there sitting there going, "Well, what does like 1 degree? Oh, it's going up by a degree. It doesn't mean anything. It means a lot.
Yeah,
global temperatures means a lot.
And the idea about doing stuff is to just slow it down.
Yeah. Oh shit! That reminds me. I have you seen like recently they found out that plastics are releasing methane.
No?
Yeah. Plastics are releasing methane and CO2 as they decompose. They didn't really know that they were doing it, but now they found out and they don't know how much they're releasing. All they know is that there's 70 years of plastic floating about the place, all of it releasing CO2 and methane after a while, and they have no idea how to stop it.
Okay. It wasn't. I thought like the plastic wasn't, wasn't supposed to
degrade.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, apparently it's got a half-life.
Okay. So that could be part of the reason why there's a load of CO2 in the atmosphere too. Then
it absolutely could be. It could turn out that despite the fact that we've been doing our absolute best to reduce carbon emissions may be going up regardless.
Although at least if that does happen, they'll be forced. I mean, if that does turn out to be the reason why, they'll have to do something about it.
Well,
yeah, good for the little fishies.
Yeah, good for the little fishies. You know what isn't good for the little fishies?
What? Oh,
the Permian extinction. Because right. So we have a volcano going mental. It's still producing magma. We have the explosion of gas out the sides along with more magma. It's a bad fucking time. But what you don't realize is that we also have a volcanic winter and acid rain. Now, I don't just mean the acid rain that they were worried about in the 90s where it was going to fuck up your nan's gravestone. I mean the kind of acid rain that will burn your eyes. Now, when a volcano goes up, it releases a huge amount of sulfur, other things into the air. Those produce dangerous chemicals. They can rain down onto you and literally melt your fucking skin.
Yeah.
But normally that disappears after like a week or so, maximum, however long the eruption lasts. But remember, this bad boy's been going on for 350,000 fucking years. That stuff never stopped, which means it's bleaching all of the fucking Earth's water. All of it. Every last bit. Meaning that the acidity of the sea gets higher and higher and higher. Its pH balance gets lower and lower and lower and lower and lower until the point where you can't actually have crabs anymore. Which is probably a good thing for a lot of porn stars, but for the world, because there's enough.
Why specifically
acid.
crab though?
This is the thing. There's enough acid in the water that the calcium that makes up the shells of these creatures and coral reefs, all those kinds of things, just start breaking down. You cannot produce enough to not have your bones melt around your skin.
Okay, because the Great Barrier Reef is like pretty much done now, hasn't it now?
Yeah, well, this is the thing. This is sort of a really clear example of what extreme like environmental effects are. If you want to know how terrible it can get, this is it. This is the worst it can get.
It's just in a least dangerous form, I guess, because it's just things go in a different colour. But you can see the effect on, because it's huge, isn't it? The Great Barrier Reef.
Absolutely fucking enormous.
Of a country or something. Some country.
Oh, it's bigger than that. It's fucking
Australia?
huge. Well, I'm not sure how much of Australia it actually surrounds, or how much of it is.
Oh, is it around? Yeah, it's off Australia.
I think it's either around it or off one side of it. I can't remember exactly where, but it's fucking. I've got to go there at some point. Got to see that.
Yeah, it'd be easier for me to say where I don't want to go.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah. I've been looking at Canada again recently. Canada sounds like a fun place to go.
Yeah, right now I just want to be able to even go to my shops, let alone Canada. Why Canada though?
I don't know. Well, if I'm honest, I do know. It's that thing of like talking before, like the American thing, man. I still think that's the place for me. Don't know why. Still think that's the place for me. Still think that's the place I've got to end up, man.
It's somewhere as a comedian, you've got to try it as well. To go to America, to go there and see what it's like and all that.
Yeah, I did an open mic spot while I was in New York. It was only like 3 minutes.
Oh yeah, insane actually.
But fuck me, was that good? That was the best experience of my entire life, man. Going to a different country with your jokes and having people laugh at it and go, "It works here too, man. This is fucking sick." Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, and let's be fair as well. We're probably a bit cleverer than a lot of the American people.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not smarter than Neil deGrasse Tyson, but like, you know, I'm probably smarter than fucking Bubba.
Then again, Neil deGrasse Tyson is the man that said Pluto isn't a planet anymore. So,
fucking Pluto's the shit, man. I love Pluto.
Yeah, he was my favorite Disney character.
Yeah. Oh fuck yeah.
Anyway, Blagolites, whatever they're called.
Flood basalts. Yes, flood basalt.
That it sounds like some kind of salt or soap or something.
It is, isn't it? And that's the stupid thing. It's got such like weak ass name for what it is. It's like, what are we gonna call Yellowstone? Let's call it a super volcano. Sweet. What about something that engulfs the entire Earth in a boiling flame? Flood basalt. Oh, that sounds lovely.
Fluffy Tinkerbell was taken.
Yeah. So anyway, we now have a situation where the oceans are getting fucked up severely badly, to a point where the temperature is now increasing, right? So we've got an acidic place. We've also got the temperature increasing, which leads to another issue, because it can't get worse, Carl. It can't get worse.
You just can't now.
It can, Carl.
I so hope this thing doesn't happen now.
Yeah, exactly. Because
bring on the planes.
Would you believe that deep in places in the ocean, there are chunks of oceanic methane stored as methane hydrate?
I mean, I didn't really understand most of that, but yes.
Yeah, so basically,
I think there's a lot of stuff in the
ocean. Yeah, chunks of ice which are full of like literal bubbles of methane. In fact, there's a really interesting documentary on Netflix you can watch about. I think it was the way the world is working, even environmental issues, and they're looking at a permafrost area, and you can see these big bubbles of methane just caught in the ice, and it's been there for thousands of years. Well, this is what happens when that gets released, because after that methane got released, temperatures rose dramatically, not to 5 degrees higher, but to 15 degrees higher.
Just from them being released?
Yeah, we are talking so much methane being released that within a matter of years, England looks like the Sahara.
Okay, in this, if it happened now, like you mean?
If it happened now, England would look like the Sahara. There would be nowhere safe. The only things that the only things that survive this situation are tiny little mammals. This is the dinosaurs before the fucking dinosaurs, dude.
Yeah, shrews. They eventually became us.
Yeah, exactly. Now, it's gone up to 15 degrees. Yeah, and here's the thing, by the way, very important thing to mention. Very important, Carl.
Yeah.
Methane, significantly more dangerous greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide. If you light methane, it becomes carbon dioxide. So not only is it polite to ignite, it is also environmentally friendly. Light your farts, ladies and gentlemen. Light them proud.
Because nothing says maturity like exploding farts.
Yeah, dude, it's not about maturity. It's about saving the earth. God damn, dude.
That's maturity.
Yeah. So anyway,
that would make a great slogan. That would.
It would, wouldn't it? At this point, we have.
Should I run for prime minister and use that as your main slogan?
What? It's polite to ignite. Fuck yes. Yeah.
I can imagine Boris winning something with that.
Nah, Boris couldn't do that. I don't think he's. I don't think he's got the sort of gymnastic capability to like hitch his legs up over his head and light it at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you can get Rishi Sunak to just come in there with one of those long distance lighters and just click it from a distance. Try and get a good light on it.
To be fair, if he's been on that bike long enough, like been on them Boris bikes, he might be in good shape now. You don't know.
Oh, fuck, pretty limber. No one wants a Boris bike. Not even Boris wanted the Boris bike. That's why he always looked so embarrassed when he was riding the fucking thing.
Well, didn't he get found out not too long ago for banging his secretary? So someone wanted to ride him.
He does that all the time. I think that's old news. Like, he just bangs every single fucking woman he can. He's a dirty bastard.
At what point does it become, it's just a guy trying to have sex with people and then becoming a predator? Where's that line?
I find that a really difficult line to decide. Well, not to decide, but to see myself. Because okay, I'm probably going to get a little bit of flack for this, but fuck it, I'm drunk enough to not give a shit. I don't see necessarily what was wrong with what Chris D'Elia did. Do you know what happened with Chris D'Elia?
I know like the basics, but he was
right. Like, so quick thing. Basically, it was suggested that he was a couple of women came along. They were like, "Oh yeah, I had Chris D'Elia try to sort of sleep with me. He direct messaged me." Now these two women, they turn up and they've got the DMs to show He was contacting them. They then claim that he is involved in, sexual assault, this kind of stuff. From that alone. They don't have any proof of that. They've just got these things. And then Crystalia fires back using his lawyers, using the appropriate things to go, actually, this is the real list of DMs. These are the pieces of the DMs that they removed. So he's got all of the bits where, not only that, and this woman is in the thing. She goes, "Oh, hi, how's it going? I'm interested. Do you want to meet up?" And then Delia's like, after a few lines, goes, "Oh, by the way, how old are you?"
Yeah.
And she goes, "Oh, I'm what is it? I think it was 17
she
at the
danced
time."
around
And he's like,
it at
"Oh,
first,
dude,
I think, didn't she?
Yeah.
He had to ask her again, I think.
Yeah, he was like, no. Yeah, she goes, 21. He goes, no, seriously, how old are you? Oh, no, it was like 12 or something. He's like, no, seriously, how old are you? How old? And she goes, like, 17. And he's like, okay, you're supposed to be 18 to get into my shows. Sorry, I can't talk to you anymore. End of the DMs. End of the DMs.
Is that all there is to it?
That's all there was to it. And that happened with another girl as well. Same exact scenario. She's messaging him. He messages her back, asks the age. As soon as he knows the age, nope, sorry, not interested anymore, not doing it.
See, this is what I've said this with a lot of things. Like now, as you get older, and especially when you do you see these true crime things as well. Like that kind of stuff's one example, and the true crime stuff as well. Like you shouldn't. I don't feel like news or anything should be able to say someone's being investigated into this or this. Their name. You shouldn't be able to reveal someone's name when they're just being investigated for something.
Yeah.
Because that's then a lot of the time that's their name destroyed then. And
it affects the judgment later on. If there's a load of people in a jury and they look at something and they go, "Oh, I've heard that this guy's a nasty fucker," they are going into that with a bias, and you should not be going into a court proceedings with a bias if you're on the jury. You just shouldn't.
Which is why they've also I'm trying to remember what case it was recently that I watched. But there's been a few different examples of higher level cases that were known a bit more, and they've had to take it to different counties to find some jury people that just didn't know anything about this.
Yeah, and I don't know. I will never ever say that that you shouldn't believe women. That's a stupid thing. I know lots of people who have had horrible shit happen to them. They absolutely should fucking take every fucking thing seriously. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to assume what you have heard is the truth until it is proven to be so. You know what I'm saying?
I saw something on a wrestling thing a while ago, and it said, remember, we have to, because people were asking a woman questions that said that she was had something done, and he was like, "You got to believe all women." It's like, well, hold on, what if a woman walks in and tells you that you raped her? You didn't, but she's saying you did. Do you have to believe her?
There's this sudden idea
you shouldn't just believe women. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, there's this sudden idea that women are all are at the same time they don't have any power in this scenario, but at the same time they can shut this stuff down. It's a very strange scenario to be in, and there are people who have been shut down, and rightfully fucking so. The Weinstein situation, perfect example of that shit working in the right fucking way.
That was the first one, weren't it, though?
Yeah, and Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby, another perfect example of that working exactly the way it should have done.
Was that technically that, or was that before that? Was that the same kind of time?
It was all whilst the sort of thing was happening. In fact, D'Elia was after it, because it would sort of, after the first few that seemed very legit, it started bleeding out into things of oh, well, this guy said something to me once. It's like, well, who gives a fuck? Yeah,
it's a bit different than this guy who's had 60 people coming up and saying, "Oh yeah, he drugged me, and I woke up."
Yeah, drugged me and raped me. Yeah, I mean that's serious fucking shit. Yeah. I don't know, and especially with some of the things that have happened in comedy recently, you sort of sit there going, Jesus Christ, you know, I don't want anything to do with this shit. I just want to be funny, man. I just want to be funny, and yeah,
you get weird, douchey people everywhere in every form of anything, and especially comedians. We like attention.
Media. Yeah, this is the problem, and there's a lot of people who sort of didn't deal very well with not having the attention during lockdown. There's people who did something and tried to make something else, and there are people who didn't. And yeah,
I haven't seen if there's been any like bad stories of comedians during lockdown.
I
don't know. I've ignored a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I've heard a few that have you know, rustled my jimmies, so to speak. But like, there's
someone else's jimmy, the nasty issue.
Yeah, yeah. But you know, again, you're right, man. The best thing to do is just stick out of that shit, and just it's not important in the long run.
When all this stuff first started, I used to, because it still really annoys me when people are spouting stupid stuff about the virus or about the vaccinations. When it first started, I used to try and persuade people and like explain to them why they're wrong and try and like, you know, educate them. But now I realise it's pointless. It's absolutely pointless trying to explain to these people. You can explain, but I'm only going to explain in a way that I'm telling you just to make a point of how dumb you are. I'm not trying to educate you. You just stick.
The fucking stupid thing is, again, it's people going, oh, I don't know, so I don't have to. It's like, what are you fucking talking about? If someone's come up to you with a piece of information that is more knowledge, that has got more knowledge in it than you previously had, learn. Know that shit. That's power, man. That's what knowledge is, motherfucker.
People say, like, you know, I don't know how vaccine trials work. It's like, well, did you need to know that exactly for these past trials before you got children?
Did you need to know that when you took the polio vaccine? Did you need to know that when you took the tuberculosis vaccine? Did you need to? No, because they all worked and you didn't get tuberculosis, did you? So,
and people are like, oh, it's only because they're saying now it's only 90% effective. And it's like, they're like, oh, it's only 90% effective. Where was over 10%? It's like, okay, TB vaccination, that was 70 to 80% effective, and they don't give you anymore because it's gone.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for. And again, they like, if you adjust it to extra doses for the person, it becomes 90% effective. Well, then it's 90% effective, isn't it? Excellent. Fuck off the rest of it. I saw someone genuinely post on something saying like, oh yeah, I'm not bothering to take it till it's 99% effective. Ibuprofen isn't 99% effective. Ibuprofen I have taken multiple times and still had a fucking headache.
Marijuana isn't even 99% effective. I've had a spliff and not got high.
Yeah, I've sat there going, well, this shit's terrible. I guess that's not effective.
True.
Yeah.
I bet even fucking crack isn't that effective.
Oh, I bet after a while, crack just gets dull, man. I bet after a while, it's like, oh, fucking crack again. Barely fucking does anything.
I tell you what, if I were in the towers and I saw that plane coming, I had no chance of getting out. You're at the top, and you know someone had some crack. Yeah, I'd be taking that crack. Well, I might as well.
Yeah.
What's the fuck? If I knew I was going to die the next day or something was going to happen the next day, I'd definitely try some heroin or crack.
Why the fuck not?
Yeah.
If the flood basalt starts tomorrow, we can all just do a shit ton of fucking heroin and not worry about it.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah. Speaking of which, let's get back to our topic because it's only getting worse, Carl. This is the final stage of what happens in the flood basalt. So, We have now covered an area that is basically the entire of Siberia in 1 mile thick of stone. We have released CO2 into the air enough to increase the temperature by 5 degrees. We have melted anything in the fucking sea that had the balls to wear a shell. We have raised the temperature of the Earth to 15 degrees to the point where nothing but tiny little rodents can survive. And this is the results. At the end,
shrimp on the barbie.
Yeah, at the end of the extinction event, and this is the biggest extinction event in the planet's history.
Oh, this is one that's actually happened.
Yeah, this is actually called the Great Dying. That is what they refer to it as, right?
All right.
99.9% of all animal life was dead.
Wow.
95% of all ocean life was extinct. 75% of all land life was extinct. And 96% of all forests died.
Jeez.
Leaving behind a large igneous province, which again can be found all over the planet, because the flood basalts are not rare. There have been around about 40 of them in the planet's history.
Right, okay. And that planet's like, but you said the last one was about like 250,000 years ago. So.
The last one, the absolute last one that happened, was very small in comparison, only releasing, I think it was about a few 100,000 square kilometers of rock. So virtually nothing in comparison. But that was 21 million years ago. Now, wonderful thing, and the joy that I can tell you is that it is probably unlikely from what I've seen that we're going to have this happen again. These were a lot more common. Yeah, these were a lot more common back in like the beginnings of the Earth, when it was a raucous, horrendous fucking place to live.
Yeah, like, when it was all bubbling away, as they say, and stuff. But you'd have like crazy, ridiculous storms all the time, and you'd have like you hear about
horrendous fucking stuff happening all the time because it's just boiling out from underneath, still forming the fucking planet.
Yeah. We're at like that point where it's kind of like the eye of the storm, I guess, now, where everything's nice, but then it's going to start dying eventually.
Yeah, everything's going to start collapsing, and we're going to become Mars, and it's going to be beautiful.
And then we'll just move on to Venus then.
Yeah,
imagine if that's all it is. You just move along each time because the sun's getting a bit colder, so you get closer and closer.
Nah, that's when you go for Dyson spheres, mate. That's when you go for Dyson spheres. That might be next week, Dyson spheres. Dyson spheres are fucking awesome.
I have no idea what that is.
How about flying a sun around the galaxy? Dyson spheres.
Okay. That doesn't sound like theoretical science at all.
Oh, it's theoretical, but it works. That's what's fucked.
It's like sounds like Tic Tac.
Yeah. But anyway, so what we have, what I'm saying is, it was reduced each and every single time. Like this one that we're talking about, the Permian extinction, was the last real one that like fucked everything up. There was apparently one of these happening around the dinosaurs as well, which could potentially have been one of the reasons why the dinosaurs died out, is because they were already dealing with this shit, and then they decided to fucking hit them with an asteroid at the same time. Fuck you, like Jesus Christ! Someone wanted the dinosaurs dead.
And that's why it's so powerful. They managed to turn a T-Rex into a chicken.
Yeah.
Between their closest relative, ain't it? Those great that is.
It is. It's fucking bizarre. And to be fair, I imagine a T-Rex would probably be quite tasty. Deep fried T-Rex, Kentucky fried T-Rex sounds like a fucking plan.
Why not? Like a big giant chicken, But I imagine the food poisoning you get from that, though.
Oof, Jesus Christ! Yeah, you'd have to fucking cook that bastard.
So, though, doing the wishbone between two people would be interesting.
You'd have to drive it up, like hook it up to two fucking 4x4s and drive away in different directions. But that is the wonderful and terrifying world of lava basalt, or flood basalts. Sorry.
I'd never heard of that thing.
Yeah, neither had I. That's the reason why I had to do it. I was like, Jesus Christ, you can literally have hell on earth. Awesome.
Do you think that like the reason, like part of the reason why it's getting less likely now and like not as bad, then it's because there's only a certain amount in there. Because if it's lava coming from the middle,
I'd say that. Yeah, I think like everything else, the core of the Earth is never going to stay at the same temperature forever.
Yeah.
Eventually, it will have an energy death, like everything else. Like Mars used to have a molten core that cooled and died. Ours can very easily do the same thing.
Well,
in fact, this is probably how that happens.
Yeah, I was just going to say, hopefully that's not the sign of it starting to happen. Then the fact that they're stopping.
Yeah, but I mean, even if it was, we're talking millions of years, millions of years before we'd even have to worry about it. But I can't believe it, man. Like, I can't believe the size of these fucking things. And the fact that they can just turn up anywhere, anytime. You've got no idea.
I imagine, like, do you reckon that they could have made some fucking funky shapes and stuff in the ocean then? You know what I mean? That stuff came out.
Yeah.
Making some weird with the waves and that.
Almost certainly. I mean, the thing is, there's so many of these large igneous provinces left over that are underneath the water that, again, like the Atlantic one was so much bigger than the Siberian one. Fucking enormous. And like some of these, we can only see tiny remnants of what they used to be.
Haven't we only explored 70% of the ocean or something like that, ain't it?
Oh, it's less than that. It's like 10% or something silly like that. Yeah. Because it starts to get so deep, you just can't send people down to look at it. Yeah.
I'm sure I remember hearing something that we've mapped out more of the universe than we have our own ocean.
Yeah, because it's really easy to see through nothing. It's really hard to see through dense something. And
well, then again, that might have been mapped out the moon, because the universe might be a bit crazy. Maybe it was our solar system.
It's straight up. It's the galaxy. It's a straight
galaxy.
Up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, galaxy. Because it's like, we can see that star. We can see that star. We can map all this shit out. We can tell how many exoplanets are around. But then you get something like the fucking the what was it, the bloop or something like that. You ever heard of that?
Yeah, the noise that was coming. Yeah, they still don't know where it's from, do they?
No, they don't. And some people think it's Cthulhu, which I like the idea of, but
What's Cthulhu again? I recognise that.
Yeah, Cthulhu's awesome.
What is that again? I recognise it.
H.P. Lovecraft. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like the Mountains of Madness. The ancient dark lord Cthulhu. It's a giant tentacly dude, sends you insane just by looking at him. Wonderful chap.
I know that from somewhere. That's going to bother me again. There's always something from a podcast where I'm like, I know that from somewhere, and it bothers me for ages.
Actually, I mean, Cthulhu was in South Park episodes at some point as well. He's,
that might have been it.
Me and the Dark Lord Cthulhu, making the world a better place.
that could definitely be it, to be fair. Yeah. I'm going to have a look at that, see if I recognise this.
It's in the Coon and Friends episodes. You know, the one where they're all superheroes. Yeah.
I love it.
And Mintberry Crunch turns up and ends up being the ultimate souffle.
Oh yeah. That was what they made the game of, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I fucking love that game. What game was that? That game is so good. Stick of Truth was the first one, and then it was
Shattered,
Fractured Butthole. Yeah.
Yeah. It took me so long to clock onto that joke in that, so long to clock onto it. It was delayed for ages, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah, but I think that's probably because Matt and Trey have had issues with bad games before. Did you ever play the South Park FPS?
The old school one?
Yeah, the one on the N64 and the PlayStation 1.
Yeah, where you could throw turkeys and stuff.
Yeah, you just sort of pissed on the snowball. Oh, mate, try playing it again now. In fact, try playing that on one of your classic games things. And my God, mate, you will just rue the day that you ever played that shit.
You'll rue the day.
Yeah.
I'm going to write that down.
Away, fat. Yeah.
The N64, you said?
Mm-hmm. You can get it on N64, PlayStation 1, and the PC version, but the N64 on an emulator is going to be the best version to go with, because otherwise you're apparently the PC version, like, everything takes twice as many hits to kill, which is just a pain in the arse. No, and the PlayStation 1 version is just bad. Just bad, man.
This is the version I would have had it on as well.
Yeah.
Something else I thought of when you were saying about how like things evolved and stuff, like, you know, to deal with things, like we were saying with the chicken and that. I read earlier, or heard it on something earlier, sorry, that elephants have started to now evolve with smaller or no tusks at all. As a way of like dealing with poachers.
Yeah, I saw that as well. It's fucking weird, man. Like people don't realize that there's two versions of evolution. Technically, there's like genetics and epigenetics, and like epigenetics is where the fine tuning happens.
Okay, well,
do you know how that works?
I don't think so.
Right, so
something else.
Yeah, no, you got your standard DNA chain. So you've got your Gattaca, so to speak. You know, GATAC, whatever it is, as it going down. And that makes up the code of who you are. But epigenetics is the amino acids that sit along sort of the outside of it. And it's been shown in various studies that the epigenetics changes at a drastically faster rate. So much so that your actions can affect the epigenetics of your offspring directly.
Yeah.
So people who smoke more are more likely to have children who will smoke because of epigenetics. People who exercise more are more likely to have kids who will exercise more because of epigenetics. It's very strange, and it's very subtle little motions as it's going along. But like,
that sounds like I can imagine a debate between nature and nurture there, because
it is very similar. And actually, nature versus nurture thing comes very heavily into epigenetics. Because there are certain things that do get affected by the way you are nurtured in epigenetics. It's fucking wonderful. And the amazing thing about it is you look at it and you start going, well, if you can sort of change a little bit on one generation and a little bit and a little bit and a little bit, that could explain why these things are happening so quickly. It's like people think that human beings have stopped evolving, but we're losing our pinky toe. We're losing certain things that we don't need anymore. We're gaining intelligence over time. That could be an epigenetic issue.
Getting taller, losing body hair as well still.
Well, exactly.
Yeah,
because it's not really, we don't really fucking need it, do we?
Well, we got
I'm keeping mine because like I'm desperate to maintain some form of youth, but there we go.
One thing we found out today is that we're old, and you don't need to just worry about explosions coming from the building you're in and outside of the building. You also need to worry about them coming from under your feet as well now. No matter where you are, you can end up in flames. That's the real thing you want to learn for today.
Remember, while the world around you burns, so is everyone else.
But remember, if you're going to kill them, then at least kill them with comedy.
Hell yeah.
Right, so on that happy note then of pure death all around then, I think that is the end of the first one of this then, my dude.
I think that was good. I think I'll try and go slightly less science next time. Try and get a little bit crazy with it. Maybe go a bit paranormal.
Okay. I think as long as what I see, as long as one of us do like a true crimey or conspiracy one each week, then it's okay, because that's just something that people like, you know.
Yeah.
It always brings people back at us.
Yeah, I'm gonna mess with the formula a little bit. I'm gonna try some stuff out. I'm gonna rope-a-dope you. I'm gonna give you a left, then a right, then out of nowhere you'll be like, shit, I'm on the floor, and then I'll pick you up and say you're the winner, because none of this.
I heard them. I'm the winner because I got to hear them.
Fuck yes. Nice. Right.
All right. Cool then, man. Thank you very much, and I will see you next week then.
Yeah, I'll see you next week, my friend. I will have something interesting, don't you worry. Cheers again.
I look forward to it. Peace out, man.
Peace out.